The Young and the Restless Monday full episodes May 12, 2025 viewers are in for a seismic shift, fresh spoilers just dropped, and the fallout is poised to redefine every power dynamic in Genoa City. As whispers echo through both the gleaming corridors of Newman Enterprises and the hushed back rooms of Crimson Lights, one thing is abundantly clear: this is not the moment to pick a fight with the mysterious Aristotle Dumas, yet for one man, it's a battle he's chosen himself. From the outset, Dumas's reputation has been enough to send tendrils of paranoia winding through every boardroom and social circle. Rumors swirl that he commands shadowy financial networks, holds the keys to illicit dossiers on Genoa City's most influential figures, and can cripple entire corporations with a single transaction. To cross him is to invite a ripple that becomes a tsunami. And yet, here we find Victor Newman teetering on the precipice of exactly such a self-inflicted rupture. Into this volatile mix steps Lily Winters, whose savvy instincts have long made her one of Genoa City's most formidable players. Viewing Dumas less as a looming bogeyman and more as an opportunity, she designs a plan to infiltrate his hidden empire from within. In whispered strategy sessions at Crimson Lights, she proposes recruiting Damien King, not as a mere consultant or security advisor, but as a double agent embedded deep in Dumas's inner circle. Damien, ever the reluctant operative, must weigh his own code of ethics against the chance to unearth the phantom billionaire's most guarded secrets. Lily frames it not as a betrayal but as a necessary gambit. By placing Damien within Dumas's orbit, she argues, they can steer the balance of power away from the fear-driven grip of this enigmatic magnate. The stakes, Lily reminds her allies, are nothing less than the future stability of media, finance, and influence in their city. Predictably, the proposal ignites an immediate firestorm of opposition. Nate Hastings, whose journalistic integrity is a beacon in the murky waters of tabloid wars, recoils at the idea of turning a friend into a spy. To him, it smacks of moral compromise, a descent into the very cloak-and-dagger tactics he has spent his career exposing. In urgent texts and late-night phone calls, Nate pleads with Lily to reconsider. "We shouldn't become the villains in our own story," he warns, appealing to her better instincts. Simultaneously, Devin Winters, whose principled stance on justice and transparency has guided him through countless ethical minefields, voices his disapproval. Devin's concern is twofold: he mistrusts the murky motives of Damien King, and he fears the personal toll such covert operations could exact on a friend already scarred by past betrayals. Together, Nate and Devin form a vocal bloc, arguing that if Lily truly wants to challenge Dumas, she should do so with open conviction rather than subterfuge. While that debate rages, a different storm gathers within the hallowed halls of Newman Enterprises. Adam Newman, ever the strategist battling the twin loyalties to his father Victor and his own conscience, makes a bold promise to Chelsea Lawson. He swears that he will not participate in any further media assaults on Billy Abbott. Chelsea, whose loyalty to Billy has only deepened since their shared hardships, extracts this vow with every ounce of earnest resolve. She reminds Adam that the endless mudslinging campaigns have cost them friends, fractured families, and left Billy perched precariously on the brink of professional ruin. For a moment, it seems that Adam, driven by guilt over his own past machinations, might actually set aside his father's ruthless playbook and choose mercy over power. But mercy is a luxury Genoa City cannot afford when Victor Newman is in play. Seizing on Adam's public pledge to Chelsea, Victor perceives a weapon of unparalleled potency. In private meetings with his closest advisors, he outlines a chilling stratagem: threaten to drown Billy Abbott's nascent new company in a torrent of negative press, all orchestrated through Newman Media's might. The message to Billy will be simple and uncompromising. Work with me, or watch everything you've built collapse under a barrage of scandal and innuendo. Victor's logic is as cold as it is brilliant. By backing Adam into a corner, he both tests his son's loyalty and flexes the muscle of his empire. The specter of a targeted smear campaign, amplified by every media outlet under the Newman umbrella, becomes a sword of Damocles suspended over Billy's head. And so the gauntlet is thrown. Victor's taunts grow louder. Leaked editorials hint at unsustainable financial practices, questionable accounting, and conflicts of interest within Billy's fledgling enterprise. The public, accustomed to Joey narratives and heroes' redemptions, stares in disbelief as headlines shift from celebration of Billy's comeback story to ominous warnings of corporate misconduct. Feeling the pressure, Billy realizes he has no choice but to pick up the phone and call Aristotle Dumas. By summoning the very architect of his father's paranoia, Billy aims to form a last-ditch alliance that could tip the scales back in his favor. In that moment, the tables turn. Victor's own threat becomes the catalyst for the most unimaginable partnership, one that could bring Dumas fully into the light and unleash consequences none of them can foresee. Over the coming weeks, Genoa City will hold its breath as these intertwined threads unravel. Will Damian King navigate the treacherous currents of Dumas's inner circle without losing himself to the shadows? Can Lily Winters justify her gambit as anything more than a reckless act of desperation? Will Nate Hastings and Devin Winters find a way to offer moral guidance without stifling the city's need for decisive action? And what of Adam Newman, torn between Chelsea's heartfelt plea and his father's iron-fisted demands? Will he stand by his word to Chelsea, or succumb to the gravitational pull of Victor's will? Most of all, what revelations await when Billy Abbott and Aristotle Dumas finally meet face to face? The answer to that question may well determine who stands victorious, and who is consigned to the rubble of shattered ambitions. One thing is certain: in a world where secrets are currency and alliances can shift with a single phone call, no one can afford to underestimate Aristotle Dumas. His emergence, whether as savior or destroyer, will redefine every alliance, enmity, and power play in Genoa City. And as fans tune in, they will witness a masterclass in high-stakes intrigue, where every whispered rumor, every strategic maneuver, and every broken promise sets the stage for the next earth-shattering twist. So prepare yourselves, because the great game has begun anew, and in Genoa City, only the cunning survive. With everything we know so far, here's how I see Eva's big make-good moment playing out on May 9th, and why it could leave more than a few hearts reeling. Who Eva will seek out, and why Eva's apology tour will begin, I predict, with her estranged father, Ted. After the explosive fallout at his anniversary party, where Eva's misstep nearly brought down the entire Dupree name, she'll muster the courage to confront him at the Abbott Ranch. Ted, still smarting from public embarrassment, will initially greet her with frost and wounded pride. But watching Eva's genuine remorse, and remembering the daughter he once knew, he'll relent enough to hear her out. Their conversation will be painful, Eva admitting how her impulsive actions betrayed his trust, Ted, with that trademark mix of stern love and disappointment, offering her a pathway back, not by erasing the past, but by owning it. If anyone can forgive her first, it's him. Kat's shocked witnessing of a new bond. Meanwhile, Kat will turn up at Crimson Lights expecting to find Eva nursing another secret. Instead, she'll walk in on Ted and Eva chatting warmly at a corner table, their arms draped around each other's shoulders. In that intimate tableau, her father, the stoic Ted Latimer, leaning in to reassure his daughter, Kat will feel a burst of jealousy and betrayal. After all, she was the one who lost her footing when Eva first entangled herself with Tom Navarro. Seeing Eva's easy rapport with Ted will inflame Kat's fears that her safe family connections are shifting beneath her. Or is it Tom Navarro she'll spot? Another possibility: Kat might arrive at the same moment Eva is sharing a quiet, supportive hug with Tom Navarro, brought there by Anita and Vernon's invitation to keep an eye on damage control. Having begged Tom just hours earlier to distance himself from Eva, Kat would be blindsided to see them in a tender, conspiratorial embrace. The sight of her closest confidant offering Eva kindness will shatter Kat's fragile composure, leaving her to wonder if she's losing both her father's attention and her best friend's loyalty in one fell swoop. The Dupree family's damage control back at the Dupree household, Anita and Vernon will be scrambling to contain the controversy unleashed by Leslie's ill-fated stunt earlier in the week. Their first relief, that no party photos made it onto social media, will quickly turn to frantic strategy meetings, drafting statements, coaching Ted on his public posture, and lining up high-profile charity appearances to steer the narrative back to Dupree resilience. Expect Vernon to take the lead on legal warnings for any rogue photographers, while Anita uses her PR savvy to book Ted and Eva on a feel-good morning show segment, ironically setting the stage for Kat's inadvertent walk-in at Crimson Lights. Can Eva truly mend every broken bridge? By episode's end, Eva's heartfelt apologies to Ted, and possibly a second, if she also seeks out Nicole to clear the air, will begin the slow work of rebuilding trust, but not without collateral damage. Kat's jealousy will deepen, Tom's loyalties will be tested, and the Dupree's tightrope act of reputation management will leave no room for missteps. Whether Eva's contrition can outlast these new fractures, or whether Kat, in her wounded state, will push everyone further away, remains to be seen. But one thing's certain, May 9th will mark the moment when apologies collide with shifting alliances, and Genoa City's next wave of drama crashes ashore. In the dim, amber glow of Crimson Lights, the hum of conversation and the clink of coffee cups formed a strangely comforting backdrop to one of the most pivotal mother-son moments in recent Genoa City memory. Phyllis Summers sat across from her son Daniel Romalotti, her posture relaxed yet primed for the kind of candid conversation she had perfected over decades of navigating both high-stakes corporate boardrooms and the minefield of family drama. Daniel, though a young man now finding his stride at Abbott Communications, wore a look of tentative optimism that betrayed both excitement and the lingering uncertainty of someone stepping into uncharted territory. "Mom," Daniel began, leaning forward and resting his forearms on the table between them, "to be honest, I feel better. Lighter, even." He paused and gave his mother a half-smile, as if gauging how sincere he sounded. "I just wanted you here, so I wouldn't lose my nerve." Phyllis's lips curved into a knowing smile, one that had soothed countless anxieties in her own life and in the lives of those she loved. "Sweetheart, that's exactly why you called me. You needed a reminder that you're not alone in this. But let's not confuse nerves with purpose. Tell me, what's really on your mind?" Daniel hesitated, choosing his words as carefully as he would craft a strategic memo. "I've been thinking, maybe I shouldn't stay at Abbott Communications forever." He swallowed. "I mean, I love the people, and the work is meaningful, but after everything with Billy and all the corporate upheaval, I've wondered if I'm truly cut out for this line of work." Phyllis reached across the table, placing a reassuring hand over his. Her eyes softened. "I understand exactly where you're coming from. I've spent my entire career wondering whether I belonged in a world dominated by Newmans and Abbotts. But, Danny, sometimes you have to recognize the moment you see a clearer path, one that aligns with your own strengths and values." Daniel nodded slowly, as if drawing courage from her words. "That's what I've been feeling. Being here, sitting across from you, talking about building something on my own terms. It excites me." Phyllis's fingers tightened on his hand. "Oh, Danny, you're more than good enough to build something remarkable. And I see that light in you, the kind of light that refuses to be dimmed by someone else's reputation or by the politics of legacy companies." Daniel exhaled, a breath that seemed to carry away months of self-doubt. "Thanks, Mom. I needed to hear that." For a moment, they simply sat together in companionable silence, the noise of Crimson Lights fading into the background. Then Phyllis leaned back, her expression shifting to one of calculated resolve, an expression Daniel recognized all too well. "Now, let's talk about why you really called me here tonight," she teased lightly, though her tone hinted at business to come. "You know I'm thrilled at the prospect of working alongside you. But that doesn't mean we can ignore what's happening with Billy." Daniel's brow furrowed. "Right. You think this is an opportunity?" Phyllis's eyes glittered. "Opportunity is my middle name, Daniel. Look, we both know Billy Abbott. He's been coasting on family goodwill for years, until now, when he's aligned with Sally Spectra to try and steal a foothold in the communications market. That little upstart company of theirs? It's a house of cards built on rumors and borrowed capital." Daniel's jaw tightened. You really think Sally's behind it? Don't underestimate her, Phyllis replied. Sally's got an eye for textiles and gossip. She's good at fixing broken designs, but running an entire communications firm? That's beyond her skill set. And as for working with Billy? He's always been more comfortable with flashy headlines than with delivering substance. Now that they've teamed up, they're more likely to collapse under their own hubris than to take us down. Daniel frowned. So you think we should sit back and let them fail? Far from it. Phyllis leaned forward, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. We need to position ourselves so that when their venture implodes, we're standing ready to pick up the pieces. Think about it, once Spectre Communications folds, there will be a vacuum in the market and your own vision for a nimble, integrity-driven communications firm could fill it perfectly. Daniel's eyes lit up at the prospect. That actually makes sense. But what about Billy? He won't roll over quietly. Phyllis gave a wry smile. Billy's a stubborn bastard, but even he knows he can't fight two powerhouses at once, especially if they're united. That's why I've got to be ruthless. I can't just let him and Sally run rampant, dragging your dreams down with theirs. Daniel swallowed hard, the weight of the conversation settling on his shoulders. Mom, if we do this, there's no going back, is there? Her gaze softened with maternal pride. No going back. But you won't be alone. You'll have me every step of the way. They sat in silence once more, each absorbed in the enormity of the plan taking shape. Around them, crimson lights carried on, friends laughing at nearby tables, the barista calling out coffee orders, the soft jazzy notes drifting from the speakers overhead. In that moment, the outside world felt both impossibly distant and intimately intertwined with their private strategy session. Finally, Phyllis stood and offered Daniel her hand. Come on, kid. Let's go to my office. I have just the outline for your new pitch. Daniel took her hand, a mixture of determination and excitement shining in his eyes. Lead the way, Mom. As they exited the cafe, neither spoke of the battles ahead. Yet both understood that the real work had only just begun. And that, with Phyllis Summers at his side, Daniel Romalotti had never been better equipped to seize the future on his own terms. Because in Genoa City, where power and legacy often overshadow individual ambition, sometimes the greatest triumph is forging a path that's entirely your own.